What have you manifested for yourself this week? Me? I've manifested, if I can talk, I manifested myself a new microphone. I was listening to some of my old videos and I heard like an echo in the background and I was like, maybe I need a mic. And the next thing I know, I asked my nephew, who's also a YouTuber, hey, do you have an extra mic I can use that plugs into my phone? He was like, yeah. So he gave me this mic. So I'm super excited about it. And not only that, but he has like all this equipment that he told me I could use. But I was like, I'm not trying to do that yet. Like, let me just stick to what I know for now. A phone. Now I got a microphone. And I'll work my way up to whatever I need to have next. On this channel, I talk about all things manifestation and my spiritual journey and the things that I have been studying and doing for the last 20 something years to get to where I am now. And I decided to start this channel because I was thinking about how I wished that I had a point of reference for some of the things that I have experienced along this journey, or just somebody to talk to about some of the things. And I was like, well, I can just share my story with others and maybe it'll resonate with somebody. So that's why we're here. When you think about manifestation or the word manifest, like what does it mean to you? Like I talk about manifestation all the time. I think about manifestation and manifesting, but I never really thought about looking up the word to see what it actually means. So I did that today. And the definitions that I got were an event, action, or object that clearly shows or embodies something. Another definition was to make evident or certain by showing or displaying. And so when I thought about these definitions of the word and I thought about manifesting, essentially we're manifesting every second of every minute of every hour of every day. And it's just a matter of what are you manifesting for yourself? Because when you're thinking about manifestation, you're manifesting things. You're either manifesting something that is in the direction of where you want to go and what your desired reality is, or you're manifesting away from it. And the way that you can determine what you're manifesting and how you're manifesting it is simply by looking at your current reality. What's going on in your life right now? What kind of experiences are you having? Those are the things that you're thinking about, and those are the things that are showing up in your life. That's what you're currently manifesting. And to dig a little deeper into manifestation, the word manifest comes from the Latin word manifestus, which means to make clear or obvious. And so when you think about that from an elementary aspect, what are you making clear and obvious in your life? What is it that you have that is showing you evidence of the thoughts that you're having and the things that you're creating in your life? I think for a lot of us, this is a very hard concept or idea to accept, because if we're not having experiences that we feel are positive, we think there's no way I can be manifesting this because I don't want to be feeling the way that I feel, or I don't want to be having the experiences that I am having. But when you take full responsibility for the fact that you are in fact manifesting exactly what you're thinking about, it kind of shifts your perspective. Now, this doesn't mean that we're always going to be in a space of everything's manifesting for us and everything's good because we're always thinking positive. Like, that's pretty much impossible. Everything is about ebb and flow. There's an equal and opposite reaction for every action. And so when you think about it from that standpoint and you allow yourself to be okay with the fact that there is ebb and flow, I feel like it has shifted my perspective in how things show up for me. Sometimes I'm manifesting all the things that I desire and it's all fun and joy and all of the things. And then other times I'm manifesting what I feel is the opposite of what my thought process is. But when we think about it from a subconscious level, I don't think we're really aware of some of the thoughts that we have at times. And one of the things that I do to kind of help me with manifestation and to kind of help me understand manifestation is I look at the little things that I manifest. I think this is a overlooked art, because when we think about manifestation, it's like, okay, we think about the big things we want to manifest. I want to manifest a house. I want to manifest a car. I want to manifest $100,000 a week. I want to manifest 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. We set these monumental goals for what we consider to be manifestation. And then we feel like once we've manifested that big thing that we're trying to move towards, that it's going to make life better for us. But in actuality, I try to look at the opposite of that. I think about the little things that I manifest. I think about the little things that bring me joy. Like, for instance, you saw how excited I was about this microphone that I got. Someone may consider that to be a very small manifestation, but to me, I treat all of them the same. And this is something new that I've started doing, because I also was caught up in the cycle of, trying to manifest something really huge, and when it didn't manifest, being upset about it, or when it didn't manifest, saying, oh, I guess I just wasn't supposed to have that. When essentially we're all powerful. God is in us as us. And if there is something that we desire, God wants us to have it so that he can experience it through us as well. But it's our own thought processes, and it's our own way of making some things obtainable and some things not. I've heard a lot around the concept of it's just as easy to manifest $1 million as it is to manifest 1 cent. And that was mind blowing to me, because I'm like, that just doesn't make sense to me. Like, how can I manifest $1 million the same way as I can manifest a penny, when I can go outside and find a penny? And so this whole YouTube journey and challenge is about me trying to figure out how that really works. How can I manifest $1 million in the same way I can manifest a penny? Because I'm not there yet. I don't see it from that perspective. And all of the things that I'm doing now are, to me, kind of like a test to see how this stuff works, a test to see when I'm in the manifesting mode and I'm manifesting all of the things that I desire from a different way of life. What am I doing? How am I showing up? What thoughts am I having? What kind of work am I doing? And so that's where I am. And another reason why I wanted to share this journey, because perhaps there are things that you're doing where you have manifested things that you really desired. It was something that maybe you thought was unreachable, and then it happened for you. And when that happens, we get so excited about the fact that we manifested it, and we don't kind of go backwards and look and see, like, well, what was I doing? What was going on in my life at the time that I manifested that? What was I thinking about? What kind of habits did I have? I've been paying attention to that a lot lately. I have been doing some things to keep track of what's going on in my life, to keep track of the practices that I have, the habits that I have, so that when things do actually manifest for me, I can say, oh, okay, this is what I was doing. And I can kind of come up with a blueprint for what works for me. And what works for me is not going to work for everybody. I know that a lot of us, we get on YouTube and we research a topic and we're thinking about something like, how do I manifest? What are the things that I need to do to manifest? What is manifestation? What are the techniques that I need to use? When really, you don't need to be on YouTube looking at anybody asking any questions, because essentially we all have what we need inside of us. And when we can tap into that power, when we can tap into the fact that we know everything that we need to know to get to our desired reality, that is where the key lies. I have been doing this work, researching manifestation. I have been reading all the books. I probably read, 150, 200 books on self-help, manifestation, healing, because those are the things that I'm interested in and the things that excite me. They light me up. I want to know more about them. I want to know how I can be a better person. I want to know how I can manifest all the things that I desire to manifest. I want to know how I can get to my desired reality. And in the beginning, a lot of the information that I was gathering, a lot of the stuff that I was studying, it talked about embodying. And when I mentioned the definition of manifestation earlier, you know, an event, action, or object that clearly shows or embodies something, I heard what the people were saying, but I don't think I quite understood what embodiment means. What does that mean? And when you think of embodiment, it means to be the actual thing that you are desiring. And I think for me, there was a lot of confusion because I'm like, okay, my desired reality is, and I'm just going to make something up. My desired reality is that I am a millionaire and I am on a yacht in the south of France, laying out in the sun, drinking sparkling water. How can I embody that when I don't have any of the things that it takes to embody it? And a breakthrough that I've had lately is that to embody it doesn't mean that you have to actually physically be in the space to be able to do the things that you desire to do. It doesn't mean that you have to have the money that it is that you desire to have. It just means you have to have the mindset of the thing that you are embodying. You just have to have the mindset of your desired reality. And when you look at it from that perspective, what I have been doing lately is little things. Like if I desire to be on a yacht in the south of France, laying in the sun, drinking sparkling water, what can I do now that is a symbolization of that? Or what can I do now that will allow me to feel? Because emotions are the key, and I think that's left out a lot when we talk about manifestation. Emotions are the key. Energy and motion, emotions, that is the key. So how does it make you feel? What are you feeling? That's how you can really tap into what it is you're manifesting. And so I've been saying to myself lately, like, okay, if we're using the same scenario, if that's what I desire, what can I do that's going to bring me a little bit of joy that's close to that feeling that I would have? And for me, it's drinking sparkling water. So I can go and I can get me a glass of sparkling water or a bottle of sparkling water. I can pour it in a wine glass. I can put some fruit in it. And I can pretend that this is my sparkling water that I'm drinking on my yacht in the south of France. When you look at it from that perspective, it kind of takes the vastness of the things that you're trying to create for your desired reality and kind of reduces it a little bit so that it's more palatable. Like we try to create these huge things, but the best way to eat an elephant, as the saying goes, is piece by piece. And so if we break it down from a different perspective, then it allows us to see, okay, this is what I desire. How can I break it down into bite-sized pieces so that I can at least experience some of the feelings that I want to experience? Because that's how a manifestation is. When you're trying to manifest something, the only thing you're trying to do is manifest a different feeling. You want to feel better than how you feel right now. So what can you do today in the life that you have to manifest a better feeling? If you're in a situation and we're using the same scenario, you can't afford to even go buy a bottle of sparkling water, you can go outside and stand in the sun. Close your eyes and pretend that you're laying on a yacht, sunbathing or feeling the sun on your face. There's always some small things you can do to kind of emulate what it is that you're trying to manifest in your life. Another thing that I've been doing lately is thinking about and making lists of some of the things that I manifested. And that is very helpful. It shifts my whole mood because when I start thinking about some of the things I manifested, I'm like, okay, wow, like I manifested a lot of stuff. And if I manifested all that stuff, then I can really manifest so much more if I use the same mental power and the same mental concepts of how I used to manifest that stuff. The other day I was listening to Jay-Z, the Black Album. And this is one of the things that I totally forgot that I manifested. And in the song, I'm a huge Jay-Z fan, so I'm really mad at myself about the fact that I don't know the name of this song right now. Because when I tell you I listened to this song over and over and over again when the Black Album came out, I'm mad about it. But in the song, he says, my friends fly private jets down to Turks and Caicos. And I remember the first time I heard this song and I was like, oh my God, what is he talking about? Turks and Caicos, what is that? That has to be somewhere that like all these rich people go. If his friends flying private jets down there, like, let me find out. So I'll go and do some research. And I find Turks and Caicos, beautiful island. And I said to myself on that day, I am going to Turks and Caicos. I didn't have any doubt about it. I didn't sit around and think about like, oh, how am I going to get to Turks and Caicos? Oh, I don't have the money to go to Turks and Caicos. I didn't think about any of that. It was just a knowing. Another key to manifestation to me is knowing without a shadow of a doubt. And I knew without a shadow of a doubt that homegirl was going to Turks and Caicos. I didn't worry about when. I didn't worry about how. I just knew in my soul that I was going to get there because I was so enamored around the idea of going to Turks and Caicos. It took me less than a year to get to Turks and Caicos because I just was like, I'm going. I didn't really think much else about it. And then I'm going to say probably like a month after I heard the song and I started doing all the research, I started looking at pricing. Started seeing like, oh, what places can you stay in Turks and Caicos? How much does it cost to Turks and Caicos? Are there direct flights? I just started doing all this research about going and still wasn't like, oh, it's too expensive. It is expensive to go to Turks and Caicos, but my mindset wasn't there. I just was like, I'm going to get there one way or another. And so about, I'm going to say 3 or 4 months after that, I had a friend and she was going on a trip to the Bahamas. I had been to the Bahamas several times, but she needed a roommate to go to the Bahamas with her. And I was like, okay, give me the information and I'll see if I want to do it with you. And she was like, okay, cool. She had a travel agent. The travel agent was booking the trip for her and some other people. And I agreed to go with her. We went to a meeting to talk to the travel agent to get information about going to Bahamas, to find out about the package and all of that. And while we were having the whole conversation about the Bahamas, I had a light bulb moment. And I was like, wait, travel agent, maybe I can talk to her about Turks and Caicos, because the research I was doing, I was like, it was just overwhelming. And so I talked to her and I was like, hey, I'm really interested in going to Turks and Caicos. Do you know anything about it? Have you sent anybody there? And she was like, no, I've never heard of this place. And she was like, let me do some research. So she did some research. She asked me when I wanted to go. I told her the time frame that I was looking for. And she said, I'll get back to you. So when she got back to me, she said, hey, I did some research. And the time period that you want to go, is there any flexibility? Because you're picking a peak season, so the prices are astronomical. But if you go in a different time of the year, the prices are going to be a lot more affordable. And I was like, yeah, I'm open to whatever, because I just really want to go and experience this place. And she said, okay, cool. So she gathered the information for me. And she was like, okay, we can put a package together. You just have to put down a down payment and have the trip paid off by a certain amount of time. And I was like, okay, let's do it. It was all workable, feasible for me. I was excited and everything worked out exactly as I thought it would. I ended up in Turks and Caicos. It was around the time of my birthday. And I was so excited to be in Turks and Caicos. I was so excited for this manifestation that when I got there, I did things that I would never, ever do in my current reality at that time period. I was not a great swimmer, but I was like, I'm going to experience this place in a way I haven't experienced any other place, because this is something that I dreamed about and it has manifested for me. So I'm going to throw all caution to the wind and I am just going to have the most amazing time. I went parasailing, I went banana boating. And when I tell you that I said I'm not a great swimmer, but I snorkeled in like 15 feet of water by holding on to the side of the boat and just sticking my face in the water because I was just so excited to be in this environment. And even now, as I'm telling you the story, I can feel it. I can feel how I felt when I was in that water. I can feel how I felt when I was laying on that beach. I can feel how the sun felt when it was on my skin. Like it was just everything that I dreamed of and more. And the only thing in that particular instance I had to do was be definite about the fact that this is something that I desired and then allow it the space and the time to unfold. I didn't sit around and think every day like, oh my God, I want to go to Turks and Caicos. It's not here yet. How am I going to do it? I don't have enough money in my bank account. I didn't do any of those things. I just relaxed in the fact that I knew it was something that I desired and I knew it was something that was going to come together for me. And there had been so many other things that I manifested. One time I really needed a computer. I had a MacBook. My MacBook died on me and I was like, man, I really need a new computer. And I was talking to one of my girlfriends at the time and I said it to her. I was like, man, I really need a new computer, but I don't currently have the funds to be able to get one. And she was like, it doesn't matter. You're going to manifest it. Because the one thing I've learned from you and the one thing I know about you is that every time you say you want something, you always manifest it. And I was like, you're right. So sometimes we need a friend to remind us or somebody that we trust and somebody that we love that knows us well to just give us a little friendly reminder that like, hey, you can do this. Don't worry about it. It's going to happen. No less than 2 weeks later, I had another friend and he worked for a school system and they were completely redoing the computers at the school. And he called me and was like, hey, are you interested in a new MacBook? Because we're getting rid of the computers at the school and getting new ones. And he was like, this MacBook is like practically new, like it's refurbished. And if you want it, you can have it. And I was like, what? I was like, absolutely. I just told my friend, like I wanted a new computer, a MacBook. And then you call me and tell me this. And he was like, okay, it's yours. And so I do this. I've started doing this a lot lately, like thinking about things that I manifested, thinking about how they came to be. And a lot of times we feel like we have to make the manifestation happen ourselves, like that we have to have all the answers and that we have to have all of the money. We have to have all of the concepts around where it's going to come from, how we're going to get it, who's going to give it to us, where we're going to get the money from. And that's another thing that has worked for me when it comes to manifestation is releasing what I think it's supposed to be like or where I think it's supposed to come from. Ultimately, God is the provider of all things. And when we look at God as infinite intelligence, source energy, whatever you want to view it as, then we are the ones that are putting limits on the things that we can have and how they show up for us. If God is the provider, he's going to use different channels to give you what it is that you desire. Sometimes the channel is going to be you. It's going to come directly through you. And sometimes those channels are going to be other people. Sometimes those channels are going to be in ideas. You're going to come up with an idea that's going to lead you to where you need to go to get to the manifestation. But we have to understand that we can't do anything alone. I know a lot of people are like, yeah, I can do it alone. Like I have worked my butt off to get whatever manifestation it is I want to have. I'm not saying that you don't have to work to get what it is you desire, but I'm also here to tell you that sometimes you don't have to work to get to what you desire. When I say you don't have to work, what I mean is that you don't have to put a valiant effort towards getting the thing that you desire. Your work may be you reading a book. Your work may be you meditating every day. Your work may be you helping somebody else to manifest some things that they want to manifest in their lives. Your work may be giving somebody else something, whether it's money, whether it's help, whether it's time, whatever that looks like for you. And sometimes you can manifest quicker by giving even when you don't have. If you have $10 and you have somebody that needs $2, like that $2 to them is going to be something big. And for you, you may be like, well, if I give them this $2, I'm going to only have $8. But what are you doing? What are you doing? Are you trying to hoard or hold on to what you know to be true? Or are you trying to manifest something magical? Because me, I'm trying to manifest something magical. I'm trying to live a life of magical experiences every single day. I said it before in one of my other YouTube videos, like I'm currently jobless. So I feel like I am the perfect experiment for how this stuff works. I am the perfect person to see how stuff shows up for me. I am the perfect person to say, you know what? This person said that they had to work 80,000 hours to get the things that they desire when I only had to work 8 hours because that work that I was doing was in the right direction. It was in the right place. It was serving a purpose higher than me. The one thing I'm very clear about is manifestation from a spiritual standpoint. We think about it on the plane of spiritual, mental, and physical. I feel like when you get the spiritual part, that's the most important part to me, for me. I am a very spiritual person in the idea of I know that I am a child of God. And it could be from a religious standpoint for you. For me, I don't necessarily know that it's of a religious standpoint, but I also am not in a place of having to put labels on things. I just know that God has shown up for me and God has been active in my life. I know the feeling that I get when God is working magic. I understand the idea of God giving me all of the desires of my heart. I understand it. And as I'm getting deeper in this work and getting older, it's becoming even more and more clear. And when I think about it from the concept of if God is in me as me, which means I'm a child of God. And if I look at God as source energy, let's look at it, for instance, like a kingdom. And if God is the king and I'm a child of God, then that means that essentially I'm a queen. And if I wanted something from the king, I would not have to go and beg and be like, oh my God, oh Father, can I have A, B, C, D, E? No, I would go and be like, hey, yo, Pops, like I need a new carriage or whatever the case may be. And he's going to be like, all right, I got you. And that's the space that I am aspiring to move in, knowing that I can come to God and be like, yo, God. And I talk to God like he's my homeboy. Like, even though I view him, of course, as a higher power, the source, I'm talking to him like he's my homeboy, because that's the type of relationship that I've developed. It's the type of relationship that works for me. And I don't care how anybody else views that, because that's what works for me. And so I have these conversations sometimes, and it's a give and take thing. Like, I know there are things that I must do because I am here to serve ultimately. I'm here to serve others. And so the work, quote unquote, that I do is in service of others. How can I serve others? How can I show up for other people? Not at the expense of myself, though. Not at the expense of myself. How can I show up for others, even if it's just me doing my YouTube videos and sharing with you the ways that I manifest things and you picking up something. And I hope that you go back and you take notes of this video of just like some of the things that I said, some of the concepts that I have mentioned that you didn't think about before. And even if that's how I serve, like, I'm happy with that. I understand from a spiritual, mental, and physical place that when my spiritual practice is in place, when I'm doing the things spiritually and I'm knowing the things spiritually that I need to know, then it brings me a sense of peace and it brings me a sense of joy so that I can move into the other levels of this thing. So once I have my spiritual aspects in place and my spiritual practices, I get up in the morning, I do my meditation, I do my journaling, I do my affirmations, whatever that looks like. When I do those things, then I can move into the mental part of it. Okay, now I'm connected with source energy. Okay, on a mental level, what is it that I'm thinking about? Where are my thoughts? Every thought is a prayer. So am I thinking in the direction of the things that I desire, or am I thinking in the direction of the things that I don't desire? I'm very conscious about the words that I use. I'm very conscious about the things that I think about. I'm very protective of my mind space and my mindset. I came off of social media because while I have had people tell me that they benefit from me being on social media, I don't find a lot of benefit by being on social media. I find myself getting on there, scrolling for what? For nothing. There's nothing there for me. I even had it where my social media feeds were catered to how I think and how I process things. For instance, like I had a whole bunch of positive things on my Instagram. I followed a whole bunch of positive people. And even with that, you know how the algorithms are still on these apps. They're going to show you something that is not in your wheelhouse that you wouldn't normally pay attention to. And the next thing you know, like you're sidetracked from where you want to be. And so one of the things I had to do for myself, my own mindset, and for me to really go through this phase of creating my desired reality, that's one of the things I had to get rid of. I had to pull away from social media so that I could be in a space of having autonomy over my thoughts and not being distracted by things that aren't serving me. I also recently pulled back from TV. I've never been a huge TV watcher anyway, but there are certain television programs that I do like and that I do enjoy. And I said to myself, when I'm thinking about, for some people, they feel like they have to earn rest. They feel like I'll rest when this is done. I'll rest when I'm dead. I'll rest when A, B, C, D, E. And I'm not that type of person. I'm going to rest because resting helps me also on a spiritual level. But what I did for myself when it comes to TV is that instead of earning rest, how some people feel like they have to earn rest, I've created in my life, I have to earn TV. So if I am going to watch TV, it has to be an earned experience for me. What does this mean? I am going to spend time researching the things that are going to make me a better person. I am going to spend time reading books. I am going to spend time researching YouTube videos or YouTube information that helps me to get to my desired reality. And when I've spent at least 8 hours a day, 8 hours of work day doing those things, then maybe, just maybe, I'll watch TV. But what I have discovered is that doing all of those things, it fills me up. And then it makes me not want to have to escape, quote unquote, to TV, because I'm full and I'm excited and I'm having a good time. And yesterday, I spent about 4 hours just listening to affirmations. I recorded my own affirmations using my own voice. And that's something that you can do as well that has worked great for me. Some people don't like the sound of their voice. I love the sound of my voice. I do. I listen to myself and I fall asleep listening to these affirmations. But yesterday, as I moved throughout my day in the house, doing the things that I had to do, I had recorded these affirmations and I listened to them. I turned them down low and I just listened to them for at least 4 hours yesterday. And I could tell a huge difference in how I felt in my body, how clear my mind was, how I was just showing up altogether. And so that's one of the practices that I have also been doing. I have different affirmations depending on what it is I'm trying to manifest or what it is I'm trying to see show up in my life. And that works for me. I used to go on YouTube and listen to affirmations of other people and listen to subliminals. I love subliminals. I love all of those things. But I said to myself, if you think constantly all day in your own voice, in the voice that you can hear clearly, why not make affirmations and subliminals in your own voice? Because you're going to resonate with that more because you can already hear yourself thinking. And so that's what I have done. That helps me on the mental plane as well. That the mental idea of me saying things to myself that are affirming, me saying things to myself that I can believe because they're in my own voice, has been helpful for me. I've been doing this work for a long time, so I don't have simple affirmations. Like, I think a lot of people when they first start out, like they need to know their words. So they may say, I am worthy, or I am safe, or I don't know, feel good in my body. I am beautiful. I am calm. Like, when you start out with these things, you need simple affirmations. I've been doing this work for so long that my affirmations are deeper. My affirmations are heavier. My affirmations are meatier. One of the affirmations that I have is, I am a child of God and I can be, do, and have anything that I desire. I am living on purpose and my desired reality is here now. These are just a couple of the affirmations that I have. I have a long list of them and I record them and I listen to them based on, like I said earlier, where I am in my life. Manifestation is one of the easiest things that we can do, but we put it on a pedestal. We make it seem out of reach. We make it seem like it's something that requires so much work and so much energy, but it really doesn't. It really doesn't. It's so simple and it's so easy. And when I think about manifestation, it's one of those times where ignorance is bliss. When I first started manifesting, I read the book The Secret, and I didn't have any concepts because I hadn't done all this research. So I didn't have any concepts about manifestation. It was just like, oh my God, there's this book. It's called The Secret, and it's telling me I can have anything I want just by thinking about it and making a vision board and doing all these things. Because I didn't have any knowledge outside of the concept, I just started doing it. And it worked. It worked every single time. Me and my best friend at the time, we read the book together and we were like, oh, we can do this. And we supported each other in manifesting all of the desires of our heart. But what happened is, as we got deeper into it, we started putting parameters around how it was going to show up, what it was going to look like, what it was going to be. And then the manifestation started to change. And so it's like, sometimes the less you know about something, the better it is, because you don't have any biases around it. You don't have any concepts of what it's supposed to be. So it makes it easier. But when you spend 12 hours on YouTube trying to learn about manifestation and what techniques to use and what's the best way to do it, then you get all of this extra clutter in your head that makes it more difficult to do. And speaking of clutter, that's another thing that you can do that helps to manifest. Clean some stuff up. Clean out your closet. Clean out your garage. Clean out your attic. Clean out your basement. Clean out your drawers. I'm in the process of working on a really, really big manifestation. And that's what I spent this morning doing. Going through drawers, cleaning stuff out. I don't use this. I don't need this. I haven't used this in months. years. Let me get rid of it. Let me make space for what it is that I'm trying to call in. Let me make space for what it is that I desire. If I was in my desired reality, would I have these things in my drawer? Would I use this? Would I wear this? That's where my mindset is. When I go out to eat, which is rare now, because one of the things that I said is, if I was living in my desired reality, would I go out to eat all the time? No. If I was living in my desired reality, I would have a private chef, a personal chef, and I would eat home cooked meals. Physically, with my physical eye, I can't see that manifestation today of having a private chef or a cook. But what I can see is home cooked food. So I've been cooking for myself since the beginning of the year. I've been making my own meals. And I've been asking myself, before I eat the things that I'm eating, if I were living in my desired reality, would I be eating this now? Would I be eating a version of this now? And if the answer is yes, I'll eat it. If the answer is no, I'm like, I'm going to pass on this. Because I am in a space of embodying my desired reality. And the way for me to embody my desired reality is to live as if it is already here. If I were living in my desired reality, would I be thinking about this? If I were living in my desired reality, would I be reading this? If I were living in my desired reality, would I be watching this? If I was living in my desired reality, would I be outside taking a walk? Would I be laying in the bed? Would I be riding a bike? Those are the questions that I ask myself and try to stay true to them. Ebb and flow, ebb and flow. Some days are going to be better than others. There's always an equal and opposite action to whatever you have going on. And when you allow yourself to understand that and give yourself grace, then it makes things so much easier. Don't be in a place where you're just like, okay, this is my desired reality. This is what I want to manifest. I want to manifest $50,000. The $50,000 comes, you spend the $50,000, then you're like, oh, now what? We seem to live in this place of we want to manifest something, then we get it. Once we get it, it's like, okay, I got that. Now it's on to the next thing. We don't take time to be grateful for the things that we have. We don't take time to be grateful for the fact that we manifested some things in our lives already. When you are in that state of gratitude, another thing to me that helps with manifestation, being grateful for the fact that you've manifested some things in the past, even if you don't see the thing that you're trying to manifest next. Like staying in that place of I'm grateful for the things that I have. Another practice that I do every day in my phone, in the notes section of my phone, I write down a minimum of 3 things that I'm grateful for. And it could be little things. Sometimes I'm grateful for the sunshine because it's the one thing that made me feel happy that day. It's the one thing that made me light up inside that day. Sometimes I'm grateful for someone that may have called me. Sometimes I'm grateful for walking down the street and finding a penny on the ground. I just envelop myself in being grateful, in the feeling of gratefulness. Because gratitude makes me feel the way that I know I will feel when I'm in my desired reality. And so because I know that there's an opposite of where I currently am, I'm already grateful for what the opposite is, but I'm also grateful for where I currently am. Because if I wasn't where I currently am, I wouldn't be able to get to the place that I'm desiring to be. Life is a school. We're here to learn. That's all we're here for, is we're here to learn. We're here to learn. We're here to collect information. We're here to be able to create our desired reality. We're here to have fun. We're here to laugh. And we get so caught up in what we don't have. We get so caught up in the terrible things that are going on. We get so caught up in wishing we were somebody else, wishing we were somewhere different, wishing that we had the things that we don't have, instead of being grateful for what we do have. Got 2 eyes, got 2 ears, got 2 arms, got 2 legs, got 10 fingers, got 10 toes. So much to be grateful for. So much to be grateful for. So I challenge you to take a moment. Hopefully you're already taking notes, but do a couple of things for yourself. Start thinking about the things that you've manifested and make a list of them. Not just the big things, but the small things. Start keeping a daily gratitude journal. Write down 3 things you're grateful for. If you don't want to write them down, put them in your phone. Just take a moment. And then come back and let me know. Do this for about 30 days. And then come back and let me know what happens for you. Also, drop in the comments something that was helpful for you, something that you're going to use moving forward in this journey. We're on this journey together. So I want to see what's manifesting for you the same time I'm sharing what's manifesting for me. Later.